Hey, how's it going, guys? Long time no see. Haven't made a video in many months. I'm reporting to you here from Seoul, Korea, and I just got back from Tokyo. Went on a side trip, met some good friends, and this has been my traveling companion for the last couple weeks. You know, the Royal Oak Dual Time. Please excuse my finger. I got some eczema going on. It's been bugging me for a while, and I really should be consulting with a dermatologist, which I probably will do here in Korea sometime soon. But let's talk about the Royal Oak Dual Time. You know, I've had this for a couple years now. I want to say since 2019, 2020. So I've had this for a good 3-4 years now, and I absolutely love the Royal Oak Dual Time. This is the model 26120, and it's the first time which I've taken it out on vacation. Right, beautiful watch. You know, I love the Royal Oak, and you know, I've made many videos of the Royal Oak. Right, my first one was a reference 5402 STB series. It had a service dial, but nevertheless, it was it's a great watch. You know, the Royal Oak. Really, that watch was one of my favorites. I sold it, and I replaced it with this model, right, the Dual Time. And I feel that the Dual Time, it really harkens back to the conception of the original Jumbo, right? Because inside is housed a JLC movement. It has a solid case back. It doesn't have a seconds hand. So I really feel it's pretty much, you know, a Jumbo Royal Oak with a dual time function, right? And it really is you know, it's so useful, yeah. Just to be able to keep track of my home time back in Vancouver, BC. Right, so now it's about 9:37 at night in the evening, and it's just so easy to keep track of a second time zone, way easier than a GMT. Right, of course, if you need to keep track of 3 time zones, which I do not, right, I'm not a high flyer like that, you know. I just need to keep track of, you know, my home time. So the dual time is a much more convenient, easier watch to use to keep track of time back home. Really is a beautiful watch. And you know, this is really the first time where I've traveled and I've taken 2 watches. So I've paired it with my Rolex Daytona, which I brought to Seoul last year. And it's a great pairing. You know, I really love the Daytona as well. But if you were to ask me which do I prefer, the Royal Oak or the Rolex Daytona, I have to give the slight edge to the Royal Oak. Right, not to take anything away from the Rolex Daytona. Again, it's an absolutely stunning piece. Beautiful watch, 116520. And it's an elegant watch. I would say it's a little more dressy than the Royal Oak Dual Time. It's just a little shinier. It's a little, you know, looks a little smaller, a little daintier compared to the Royal Oak. But it is an amazing watch. You know, you know, it's the first time. Why did I travel with 2 watches? Well, you know, I'm here for a couple months, and I'm just not a one watch guy. You know, it's really hard to just, you know, to just wear the same watch day in, day out. You know, for an extended period of time. It's difficult. For me, it's difficult. If you're a watch person, you understand, right? I'm not a one watch kind of guy. 2 watches, I really like it, you know. You can just kind of wear this in rotation. One day I wear the Royal Oak, one day I wear next day I wear the Daytona. It's perfect. It's great, right? Um, that being said, if you're a watch person, right, I don't think it's possible to be a one watch kind of guy, right? So, at the same time, I do not believe in having, more than 5 or 6 watches. Yeah, for me, I think the perfect number is five, right? 5 pieces as a watch enthusiast and as a collector is perfect. That's all the time I have to spend with these watches. Once you go beyond 5, 6, 7, definitely if you have more than 10 watches, I think they kind of lose. I think the watches kind of lose their. I don't want to say lose their meaning, but they just don't feel as special anymore. It's just a little bit of overcrowding. So, at one point I had a dozen watches, and it just didn't really sit well with me because, let's say, at one time I had a Speedmaster along the Daytona, and I just found myself wearing the Speedmaster a little more often than I did with the Rolex Daytona because, I didn't want to damage, scratch, or scuff the Rolex Daytona. And it was just such a shame, right? So because I had the Omega Speedmaster, which was a lesser piece, I just wasn't wearing the I just wasn't wearing the precious watches as much as I should have, right? And I feel that watches should be worn. I don't know if you can see, right? I got a couple of scuffs over here on the bezel, on the bracelet. These watches have been worn and they've served me well. I've got a lot of good memories while wearing these pieces. I mean, you only have so much time, right? You want to spend them with watches that you really love, care, and just wear the best. Wear the best. Keep the best. Sell the rest. Keep the best and sell the rest. Right. So I advocate for people, for watch collectors. If you find that you got 10, 11, 12, 13 watches, I think, it might be a time to consolidate down to 5 pieces. I think that really worked for me, and I just haven't been happier. I haven't bought anything. I don't have any yearning to buy anything. I don't have a need to sell. I'm just happy enjoying the pieces that I have in my collection and building memories with them. And I'm just happy. So, right, that leads me to the next topic. Is the watch market dead? A lot of people seem to be having a tough time. A lot of watch dealers appear to be, having a hard time shifting and moving watches. And to be honest, I don't know. I haven't really been in the market all that much. Maybe that is a sign of the times, right? If I were still buying and selling a lot, and it just means that the market is pretty hot, a lot of transactions going on. But I just haven't had any yearning to buy any new pieces. Nothing to really add. Okay, maybe I would like a manual wine movement. I don't really have that in my collection, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. I still think watches are a little bit too expensive. I think things like, let's say, the Omega Speedmaster, Hasselblad Crystal, or Speedmaster Professional, they seem to be going for about 5,000 to 6,000 Canadian dollars. I think that's a little bit too expensive for a Speedmaster. I would be a buyer at about 3,500, and I think that's very reasonable, right? Omega Speedmaster, as great as it is, it shouldn't be a $6,000 watch, right? Same thing for the Rolex, for Rolex models. Let's say the Rolex Submariner. They have the new 41 mil. I wouldn't. They're a little bit too big for me. I guess in that sense, I'm a little bit old school. You know, I never bought into the ceramic hype. I'm not really a big fan of ceramic bezels. I think the steel is just a lot more elegant, a lot more refined. But I get it. You know, it's something new. It's something fresh. But I started collecting in an era where it was about all the Rolex pieces had aluminum bezels and steel bezels, and I kind of like that. I was also never a fan of the super case. So, yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. I guess that's why I haven't really had a yearning to buy Rolex watches. Yeah, but so much has happened, right, since pre-COVID. Watches like I don't get why certain Rolex Oyster Perpetuals have gone so crazy and so out of hand. People just pay such a high premium for a green dial Oyster Perpetual, Tiffany blue Oyster Perpetual. The date just is always a little bit of a dog. I mean, I love the date just as well, and I respect it. I've owned a couple date just, but I think people are paying a little bit too much for Oyster Perpetuals and date justs and models of a specific color. But I guess that's what people like. That's what people are willing to pay. That's what people demand. But for me, I always go, when I buy Rolexes, I always go models. The top of the top of the line in Rolex sports models has to be the Rolex Daytona, followed by the GMT, and then the Submariner. Things like the Oyster Perpetual, date just. These what you shouldn't be paying more for a date just, right? When you can get a Submariner or a GMT. Yeah, if you did that, then I think well, don't sell it, just keep it, right? I don't think that was a good purchase. But, that's just me, right? To me, Rolex is all about rotating bezels and buttons that you can push, right? That's why you pay for a Rolex, right? Because we're fidgety, it's luxury fidget spinner. What else? Those, like the push buttons. It's fun, right? Rotate bezels. That's what it's all about, But you can't do much with the Oyster Perpetual or a date just. And so I wouldn't pay a premium for those watches, right? It's all about your ability to interact with the watch, spin the bezel, turn the bezel, press buttons. That's what makes a Rolex sports watch so fun. You're able to interact with it, and that's why you should pay a premium. So do not pay a ridiculous premium for an Oyster Perpetual or a date just with a unique color. Yeah. But traveling with two watches, fantastic, right? They make a really great pairing. White dial, black dial. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.